Hello everybody, it's Donnie Crashbones for another review. And today's review of Queens of the Stone Age, Songs for the Deaf. Yeah. Josh Homme, ex-Kyuss member with the mainstream release, with such songs, tracks known so far as No One Knows, Go With The Flow. And we're kind of talking about this one and stuff like that. This is the most loved and the most talked about. I've been saying and stuff. The rated R one and stuff, I think it's a little bit better and stuff, but I haven't been the one to judge in a long time. Yeah. The first song on the album and stuff like that, I got to hear it, and I would definitely recommend you to actually go to listen to it if you haven't listened to it at all. It is the most fucking entertaining thing I've ever heard and stuff, and actually something that I knew that was missing from the album, and then big time, there's something missing. So when the radio starts, it's basically that badass radio station. It's like the radio voice. It's like, hey, it's Clint, the man introducing the track and the album. It's Songs for the Deaf. You can't even hear it. It's a pretty hardcore kind of road on to starting the album and stuff. So we start really good, and we start pretty heavy. This album has a lot of talk about stubbornness and ignorance, but how men, how people who are deaf, and the difference between people who are deaf and blind. I'm saying a line in the track, the blind can go fuck themselves. Not even totally sure the whole concept of the album, but it is definitely a road trip from Joshua Tree to California. When I was reading this before doing the review, I was just kind of like thinking, well, is this just a kind of pretty much like a truck driver's album? A fucking road trip from hell. So and a lot of definitely stops on the roads on the time and stuff like that. No One Knows is basically another kind of stubborn-esque type of song around with Dave Grohl on drums, Nick Alvalari from the Dwarves. This one is just definitely, I guess, more up and down in people's minds that there's real good artists work together. Even like having Dave Grohl on this album playing drums, it's like it still doesn't open your mind. When this album has definitely when this album came out, it was definitely an unexpected twist on how modern rock music was going to be accepted. With songs like No One Knows and other stuff like that, we hit the jackpot, in my opinion. So beautiful features from Mark Lanegan from Screaming Trees. A band definitely really didn't know it existed and stuff like that until probably a couple years ago or something. Didn't really listen to them a whole lot. The next song we get on to is first. The song is talking about drug habits and its consequences as you're trying to make the best decision and stuff, and how sometimes when you don't go with your guts and you don't feel like listening to yourself, then the consequences come in and they are dire. Guys Falling, another track on the album, that stuff where you would definitely get the desert rock feels from and the southern rock feels of just early days of Josh Homme and Kaya. Brooded with good drumming and vocals from other members of Screaming Trees. Dave Grohl on this album continues still to just like to definitely destroy minds in the best way possible. For the Dead, man, it definitely sounds like a song for the Dead. It's just a little bit a part of the movie and the concept of the album and stuff in the middle. About it just sounds like a zombie apocalypse that's just starting up. In my opinion, that's like how it's described and stuff, and maybe like a little war and stuff like that. As you're driving across the desert and stuff, like to other places, you're seeing yeah, no shit. Sometimes even the slightest short tracks on here and stuff like that, can even still fucking kick ass. Track is with Nick Alvaleri on vocals, making this track very fucking heavy, hard, and what you just heard in the beginning, Millionaire. It's on a death metal radio station as we're on our way to in the middle of nowhere. It's very hard hitting shit. Never haven't been listening to this album enough because I haven't given it enough chances and stuff. Because I guess there was times I thought there was boring parts and boring little solos and shit, but I guess you have to keep on listening to it to feel what everybody else has been feeling. As we literally soften a bit, Hanging Tree is a little bit more of a bonfire type of track in here, and it was recorded during a desert session. The track we come back on and stuff, Do It Again is basically just on a fucking kind of trying to attempt. It's basically, when you're at a standoff, you're telling someone to do it again and shit. It's a little bit, literally, it could be anything about drug, addiction, about sexual addiction. This stuff wasn't really very clear. This album wasn't very clear on that and stuff like that with the storytelling. Josh Homme might kind of explain it different than others. I don't know. I just kind of see stopping by for a piss and having a fire. So over these years, you never thought like I think that Josh Homme would do a song like an anti-love song or something like that. And when he did love songs and stuff, he all of a sudden decided to fall in love with someone. And now we're at a time. Anyways, track is go with the flow. As you can see, most of the band is basically going in the flow and stuff like that, driving across the highway with others and stuff, and just trying to steady and take it easy and trying to basically be okay with everything going on. It's basically about being on acid and on drugs, like Fearing and Loathing Las Vegas and stuff, trying to go with the flow. And if you can't go with the flow, it's probably hard to go with the flow. God in the Radio is another continuing story to this acid tab, to this acid trip of a whole fucking album that you're still trying to get out of that acid trip. The track, that how it continues with God in the Radio, a little chill time, a little bit of an instrumental, I guess. I think there's the song as that. Yeah. And then we end off with Mosquito Song. which is acoustic by Josh Homme on vocals. And then it's this fucking album. I got things to say about this album, like I guess I never really reasons why I probably never want to listen to it continuously and wanting to go through the whole experience. I guess I was in a different mindset at that time in life. There was times I guess I got Scott sleepy and stuff, and I thought Queens of the Stone Age was just still fucking overrated. And now we're at a point in our life now, I guess, just like Queens of the Stone Age is turning into Elvis Presley. So, for all things, this is probably an album I will review from Queens. They haven't always really, kicked ass. I've never really always been invested into them. But I think there's some kick-ass shit they have put out. And this album, I've given this album like a chance about 10 times. And finally listening to it, it's really listening to it is just you're just trying to wait for the movie to end, and it just felt like that the whole time. I gave this one a 7. This deserves a 7. So I think that just pretty much just like clears it all. If you didn't like this review, tell me why, and if you did like this review, like and subscribe. Let me know what I missed out on and what I should have said, and let me know what to review next. And I'll see you later. Hello, everybody. It's Donnie Crashbones for a review of Shit Poopy.